about maybe 3 or 4 hours, because we're having a meeting, but I'd like for you to be there anyway, just as to catch up with some of the guys that you may remember.
Okay, I'll depart that way I can leave you all alone to it.
Well, good catching
Alright,
up, and we'll see you later.
well, I love you. Okay, that works too.
Oops.
Enjoy.
Cheers. God, I've missed that guy. Welcome to the Transnation eSports. That's probably one of the best intros you're ever going to get. I'm Brett Evans, joined in commentary by Michael Groan Jr. We did have an old face in the category from the olden days. Stefan Namberger just in having a catch up with us. I thought he did have 2020, so I thought he was going to join us in the commentary, but unfortunately not. But it's good to catch up with him again after a bit of a while of being missing here. In fact, I think this venue was the actual race where he cemented the Tier 3 Championship of Season 1, sorry. So we're here at the Japanese Grand Prix, the Circuit des Suzuka, I guess you would call it by the French term. 11 drivers today, still not as impressive as previous. Most importantly, in the terms of the championship, no Amar today. So this is the big break that Smart's probably looking for in terms of getting some points on the board. So Michael, welcome to the broadcast, and what's your thoughts on the Suzuka Grand Prix circuit?
I mean, it's usually a track that I don't like because the first sector is so tricky to get around. You could either be comfortable or out of control and fast. Real slidey and skatey, but quick. So tough track to nail. But I don't know. I think there's always seems to be interesting races here. It's that'd be just the difficulty a lot of guys have, racing around here. So hopefully we get a good one. Obviously, attendance not so great again, but I think there's still potential for some good battles in today's race.
We do have a kind of a plausible I wouldn't call it a reason or an excuse. I'd call it the statutory means as to why we don't have as many races today. Something I don't support in the slightest is the football championship final between Chelsea and some other team. Like I say, I don't follow football, never will, and personally don't think I'll ever will because of the whole situation that's presented to this championship race at the moment. So there's no tier 2. The tier 2 drivers that don't want to watch football have gone to tier 3, so that's kind of messing up that aspect of it. So I'm not entirely pleased about it, because I know that we would have had a probably better attendance this week had it not been for it. So come USA, to me there should be no excuses. As for my personal thoughts on the circuit, well, for me this is the track where I got my second and last win in no assist tiers. That was back in season 1. Interesting race that one was. I talk about the shit attendance today, but back then we only had like 6 for that race. 3 official drivers, 3 reserves, and I came out on top as being the sole survivor of the no assist tier department. So one driver quit the race midway after getting wing damage, like literally a bit of wing damage. They pit and retired, and then the other driver, Plevs, got disqualified for ignoring black flag rules, or ignoring the drive-through rules. Got a drive-through during the safety car and ignored it. It was also the host of my 100th race. Now Liam Tower's gone off at the Center S's. Actually, that's quite strangely put in where he's gone off. So Tixien goes to the top with a 26.9. The fastest time of the week, I think, was a 25.5 set by Samad in... No, was it Samad or was it Amar? It was one of the two. If it was Samad, it doesn't count. If it was Amar, then he'd be the hosting of the fastest time with the 25.5. Kieran's done a 26.5 on the softs, and then Samad's done a 26.8 on the mediums. That's not too bad. So, you of course finished second here on Monday night behind your teammate who got himself in a bit of hot water. Would you want to elaborate on that a little bit, or sort of just leave that one under the bus?
Yeah, I mean, for the incident itself, I don't think it was anything that he did on purpose or an intentional spin out, but yeah, I think he just got it a bit wrong going into the hairpin and made contact, caused problems for a lot of us, especially me. I wish it didn't happen. Put me back in last, and yeah, I guess very, very lucky safety car put me back in the mix for a good finish. So I was really happy with my pace, actually. One of the first times that I've been happy with my pace around this track. So
now, probably people are going to ask the question, why is Pedro Diaz in the Mercedes instead of the McLaren? He basically came to me with a request to try one car out for a different car for today's race, and obviously the Mercedes is the only open car in the lobby, and of course I was expecting a bigger lobby size, so I allowed him to race in the Mercedes for today's race, and if his result doesn't improve, he'll be going back to the McLaren, because, you know, people always talk about, like, they'll pick a car, they'll race in the car, then they'll say, I don't actually like this car now, can I switch, because I'm more used to this. I don't necessarily buy into that one too much, because to me, with equal cars, yes, every car might have its slight, and I'm talking slight, differentials to each other, but at the end they're equal, and it's really more about your setup that you've got on the car that probably makes a difference. Bo goes to top now, 26.57, so not too much in it. But yeah, I don't buy into the whole car relation thing being the reason for not having good performances. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think they all, like you said, a very slight difference in all of them in terms of how they handle. And one car might suit somebody's driving style just a little bit better, but I don't think it's going to find you like half a second. I think it might find you a tenth or two at certain tracks, but I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what car you're in. I think you could do, you know, I think Samad or Amar can be in any car and be as quick as they are, in simple terms, but I've always been somebody who prefers a certain car just because of I'm very used to the McLaren based off of the visuals of, you know, I'm used to being sat in that car, looking at that car when I'm racing, and it's got a balance that I like. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I don't think the difference is that big, but...
Yeah, so we've got a few comments from Patrick in particular. Only difference is the car sound and the design of the car, which is pretty much the obvious aspects and differences, because of course you've got your 4 different engine suppliers, Ferrari, Honda, Mercedes and Renault, so naturally each car has its different note. Now I think we do have one of each car so you can listen. So there's the Mercedes. Okay, now here's the Ferrari. Here's the Renault. Ooh, hang on, actually. Oh no, could have sworn I just saw someone spinning as I was flicking through. And here's the Honda. We'll just wait for Michael McClay to get up to speed. The Honda engine note is probably the one that's the quietest of the 4. personally, I'm actually a big fan of the Mercedes one this year, or this game. The Ferrari one I initially was into, but then after a while, it just is really super whiny, and it's the loudest of them. And then Renault is sort of like the Mercedes, just a little bit hedgier in its, or as I would like to call it, more tractor sounding.
I like the Renault.
And then of course next season we've got, well, we don't have a change in the engines, but we have I would imagine that the engine notes might change a little bit for the game, so you're going to have more McLaren, more Mercedes, as McLaren will be in that bunch. If Samad now equals the fastest time of the week with a 25.5, I think he might actually have just, and I say just, beaten that one. So Samad now with the fastest time of the week. Yeah, this is assist tier 1, Giuliano. Bo's there, he's P2. So, yeah, like I say, Mercedes engine powers will have one extra in McLaren. So, what does that do for you? Because, I mean, we're still not up in the air about what your actual commitments are for next season. Not so much nationals, but regionals as well. Do you think you would end up going to Aston Martin? Or do you think you would stay at McLaren despite the fact that they're going to go Mercedes engines?
Well, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna be full time next season, even in regionals.
But let's just say on the hypothetical that you do decide to commit.
On the hypothetical, I don't know. I think maybe I'd go Aston Martin, but if that's not available, I'll go for Ferrari. Well, actually, I mean, if I do another season, I'll end up getting one of the first choices because I'm high enough up in the standings. But I don't know. I kind of am going into Abu Dhabi this season with every intention of it, being the send off for me, at least for competing full time. I might reserve every once in a while and have some fun, especially at the new track. But I might be full time. I don't know yet.
Okay, well let's take into perspective then career mode.
I'd probably just do my team career.
Ugh, you rookie. Nah, see, I'll be honest.
That, but I made it 7 races into my team in season 1, and
well, you were
got
lucky.
bored.
I only made 2 races. I finished like 15th in the first race. No, sorry, I did 3 because I did China as well. So I finished 13th in the first race, 5th in the second one, and then I won China because, of course, in China the AI always commit to a 2-stop, whereas I went for the 1-stop and managed to make it work. And then beyond that, I just couldn't see myself playing it on anymore. And who did I have in my team? I think it was Tatiana Calderon I had as my teammate.
I just get so bored racing against the AI.
Oh, I don't mind it so much. I just sort of found that my team at the very start of the season, the car just feels like it's worse than a Williams. As Maddie Smith goes up to 6.
That is kind of the point, though.
Yeah, I understand. You're starting from the bottom up, but when you, especially, like, I was always convinced at the time that when you start a new season for a league race, you use career mode as a sort of a platform to just keep you in the game, keep you fresh and ready. But if you're doing my team, that's the worst way of doing it because you're just always battling with a car that's not going to be anywhere close to what you're going to be using. Obviously, in the multiplayer version, the cars are probably one of the better ones in the time trial. It's the most preferred car, which is quite strange when you think about it. But for me, I'm definitely going Aston Martin for career mode. Because, and people can't go and say, oh, that's a cheap way out because you could win races with it. Well, I think this season's kind of proven that they're not even really capable of staying consistently in the top 10. So it's a definite mid-pack car. It's looking to be a little bit stronger, but of course, street circuits are always going to be a bit misleading because A, you can't overtake, and B, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of high-speed corners. So any car with a horsepower disadvantage isn't going to be too heavily disadvantaged. Baku, on the other hand, will be an interesting one to see if Aston Martin can replicate their good form. I mean, we've seen that Ferrari look to be back in terms of performance, but of course their reliability, well, I wouldn't call it reliability because Leclerc stuck it in the fence and forced their reliability hand, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So 2 minutes left on the clock and Samad has nearly a second on the field. That is nuts.
He's gonna go back out.
Well, there is the glitch with us that because I'm hosting, there will be about another 30 seconds on the clock, so he does have roughly about a minute left to try and do something here. Actually, William Hunter's on a lap here, so we'll go for a virtual lap on board the Williams as he tackles the Suzuka circuit, the only figure of 8 circuit on the calendar, and has hosted every race of the Japanese Grand Prix -3. So into turn 1 and 2, hard on the brakes, you got to throw the car in through here, and then going through the one of millions of CNRSs in the F1 calendar. This is where you got to be able to throw the car in. Some of these corners you can take flat, others you do have to dip in the acceleration. Up into Dunlop, this is where I spun in season 6.5 and nearly thought my 100th race was going to be over then. Now into the first of the Degners, and then the second of the Degners. Now it is Degner, not Degner, as Stu likes to.
Degner.
Degner.
I don't know. I think it is Degner because we did some. I remember now. We did some research on it last season, and we're in Japan, and those corners are named after a German fella.
Ooh.
So
what's happened there? Disqualified wrong way. Where is he? Oh, he's at Dunlop. So he must have spun, then tried to. See, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. When you have a spin, let's call it the spinning for idiots. Don't go the other way. Engage reverse and flick it around that way. Then you won't get stung for being the wrong way. So now, was that an improvement? I don't think it was.
William Hunter, yeah, it was.
So 26.9, still 2/10 off the pace of Pedro. So yeah, you
just hit the pit wall.
Ooh, okay. That's happening a lot more than I would. That's happening a lot more than usual. And I thought because of getting rid of the bump at the final corner, I would have thought that was actually going to eliminate people doing that. Now, who's coming up there? Samad. No, he's just vanished in the nick of time. But yeah, I thought with the bump gone, that would have been nullified. But I've seen about.
In. Now he's off.
Oh.
He's just spinning it on their final laps.
So where has he done it? Oh, that's way out.
And
now, see, I think what F1 2021, if not that 2022, needs to incorporate is a yellow flag delta. Now, we know in real life when a car crashes during qualifying, usually a red flag comes out, but sometimes if an accident happens, they bring out a yellow flag to start with. And normally under the rules of the championship is that if you're caught speeding under a yellow in a qualifying situation, you get disqualified from qualifying. And I think that should be in effect because we do see a lot of moments where a driver might spin off, cause a yellow flag, and everyone just still flies through and goes on a fast lap. And then maybe even sometimes on the rare occasion they might better their lap. So I think we need to sort of punish that a little bit. Obviously, we can't do it. We can't police it because we would have to monitor every single yellow flag and then watch and see how many people go through full tit. But if they really want to turn Formula One into the ultimate open wheeler experience, they do need to bring back certain things. As Samad now lowers the best time of the week by a tenth to a 25.4. And without a doubt easily takes pole position from Bo, and Michael McClay I think is a career best qualifying in third, and for AlphaTauri that's a good result because it's their home Grand Prix, or at least for their engine supplier it is, and they are the only Honda representatives this weekend as we don't have either of the Red Bulls. So
Red Bulls. Oh, Dan's back this week.
Yep, Dan's back and he's the last driver to set a time. Of course, Kieran had a time but lost it due to being disqualified. Liam Towie was out quite early, so he will start 10th, but he will have a fresh set of tyres and his personal tyre choice from here. According to Samad, he would want to drive the Aston Martin because of Seb. I think that's a lot of reason why people want to drive Aston Martin. Well, for me personally, it is. If I couldn't drive Aston Martin, I think my only other option would be probably Alpine.
Yeah, the Alpine is a good looking car.
Although in saying that, I know a lot of people might disagree with me on this one, but I actually kind of actually like this year's Williams livery. Once you've looked at it a bit more, it's actually quite striking compared to the other ones.
Yeah, I think it's one that grows on everybody a little bit as time goes on, but yeah, when everybody caught a glimpse of that for the first time, everybody kind of scratched their head thinking, what the hell did they do with that thing?
It definitely is a bit reminiscent of the earlier 2000 car that they had with when BMW was a part of the team. So it certainly strikes you. I think no matter how much I look at it, the Mercedes just doesn't rub off for me anymore. Like the black Mercedes livery from last year, people grew on that big time. You couldn't even. In fact, you look at the black Mercedes now, and you wouldn't even think that they were originally silver. You almost forget that they were a silver car. So, a quick rundown of the DXC eSports starting grid, and our Tantalo pole position goes to Ari and Samad. Brilliant lap in qualifying and is now the bench sitter for the fastest time of the week. Bo Wigger in second place, the first of the AlphaTauris, and of course, as I say, the only representations of the home Grand Prix for the Honda Power Unit. His teammate Michael McClay, best qualifying of his career, in third place, and he'll have Pedro Diaz debuting in the Mercedes for the one race. He's got P4. William Hunter is back in the action. He is in P5, and Tien Hartmann in P6 in the first of the Renaults. Of course, next season will be labelled as Alpine. Second of the Renaults, Matty Smith. Apparently he got pulled away for his birthday and got white girled. So happy belated birthday to Matty Smith, and that was why he didn't race last weekend, even though he was on the PlayStation. Christopher Lubin had a really good result last weekend out at Russia with a shortened grid. Maybe he can bounce back and do another one. He starts in 8th, and Dan Weir back from Birmingham in P9. Then the first and only Racing Point, which of course becomes Aston Martin for next season, is Liam Towie, and making up the last spot on the grid, though was provisionally P2 before his disqualification, and the only driver on the medium tyres is Kieran McClay. So 11 cars, 27 laps, a very infamous turn 1. We saw the 1990 championship decided at that very corner when Ayrton Senna openly elected to take Alain Prost out of the race to ensure he would be the champion. And obviously if you did this nowadays in the actual F1, you would be ultimately disqualified from the championship. So it's quite a long way in coming in terms of scrutineering in terms of Formula 1 from the 90s to now. So the cars are now lining up on the grid and we will have ourselves a start. Now hopefully nobody's disconnected, but because since I host, the AIs react to the start lights. So the start lights go, they will drop, and the viewers will build up. Everyone's getting ready for a start, and it will be lights out, and away we go. Now Bo is with a pad hack start. Oh god, Ahmad's trying to squeeze him through, but Bo is actually gonna... Oh, I think Bo knew that his moment there was going to get shut off, so he quickly switches through. Now we got Pedro at the back.
Off. I think there's a lot of guys with wing damage. Yep, Kieran, Dan, I believe.
Liam Towie's got damage.
Lubin looks okay.
And the one thing about this circuit is having wing damage is a problem. Now, did Pedro get wing damage through all this melee? No, I think he got away with it too. So he
did.
Whether he did that himself or if he got a helping hand there, he was starting P4. So the only person I would think that would have maybe have given him a helping hand is either Matty Smith or William Hunter. So we'll see if that comes about in a steward's report at the end of the race. But Pedro hasn't really lost any time when you look at it. He's only 1 second behind Kieran. Oh, that's Samad. Samad's had an off at Spoon. So an Alpha Tauri 1-2 at the start of the race. Bo, who had initially had the best launch of the two cars at the start, kind of got pinched at turn 1, had to yield to Samad, but now Samad's got a bit of work to do as he tries to get through it all. Now that's Christopher Lubin making a move on Liam Towie for position at the, what did Stu call that corner? The something triangle?
Casio?
Oh yeah, the Casio triangle, that's it. You seem to actually know a lot more about this track than I do, which is quite surprising. Although there's not really too many big names around. Oh, and that's Michael McClay having a spin at the centre S's. Just grabbed the inside curb. I didn't actually take most of the... I know Dunlop is a bit of an auto spin curb, but I didn't take anything through the S's as an auto spin. So that's put Matty Smith up to P3, Titsi in P4, Samad's now back up to 5th after all that, William Hunter in 2nd, Bo now with a 1.8 second lead. I don't think Bo would have imagined that he'd be leading the race through that, and then of course his teammates now undone his hard work from starting 2nd. Now I don't think, no, Dan didn't pit, which is quite surprising to say the least. I guess he's obviously trying to mitigate the need of falling back through the field and changing his strategy, so he'd rather, in this case, potentially drop to the back of the field and then make the stop and drop further back. So I'm not 100% sure that what Dan's doing is politically correct, but he obviously feels that this is what he needs to do in light of his damage.
Yeah, I did some, after the incident in Monday Night Regionals, I did some laps with I think left end plate damage, and it was not fun. But I didn't have to change my strategy, so.
So you ultimately just went with the idea that you just would take the pain, deal with it, and carry on the strategy as per normal.
Yeah, I got lucky though because the safety car came out, so I stayed out until, and then we got the safety car, and then I was able to pit, and I was back on even playing field with everybody. But I think if you pit now for the hards, you can't make it to the end. I mean, you could. It'd be a very, very long stretch though, so I think he'll be wanting to go more laps before he comes in and pits. The mod's gonna make a move, and it's not gonna work.
And he backs it into the fence, keeps it engaged. Now that's another thing though I think co-masters should implement. Of course, it's not. They don't want to go into complete simulation thing. We've had this discussion. Well, I don't think you and I have had this discussion, but I've had this rant time and time again over the course of my commentating career. It's quite interesting to think I say this now because it is technically coming to an end as of the end of this season. I mean, I will be commentating still for the development series of the supercars, but in terms of F1 league racing, this is my last season as commentating, so it sounds kind of weird saying that, but Codemasters obviously don't want to create a simulation game, or at least they want to, but they don't want to create it so simulated that it cuts down on the production sales, because you know, people buy this game, don't necessarily buy this game for league racing, they buy it for career mode, offline mode, you know, anything that, or just casual online playing, which if you're doing it for casual online playing, you're a dead sir, honestly, with half the people that play on online lobbies. But, you know, Samad's incident, what he just did there, in real life, he would have been out of the race, because that car would have buried itself into the back, plucked the rear wing off, and maybe done some rear suspension damage. Obviously, the rear of the car doesn't take much of a hit in this game. You can DNF someone by drilling them in the rear end quite hard and do something to their engine, but you can't destroy your rear wing, and your rear wheels don't usually come off unless it's a pretty moderate whack into the wall. And the other thing I thought about too was stalling. There's still chances that F1 cars can stall when they've had spins and all that, so yeah, there's a lot of things that Codemasters could introduce, and I think with EA Games in the picture, they might do it. But beyond anything else, if there was one thing I'd want in this game for next season online that they should bring into is at least, oh, hang on, before I finish that, Matty Smith has been absolutely served.
He just made the move for P2.
He managed to keep it off. Well, he hit the wall, but he managed to avoid front wing damage, so he got away with that. But yeah, William Hunter just gave him an absolute serving in the rear. Could be decent, could have been something different, but from what our perspective was, it was an absolute serve and a half. But as I was saying, red flags, that's all I'd ask for. So Christopher Lubin now P5. Samad hasn't pit since his moment off at Spoon. Dan still hasn't pit from his moment. He's now in front of Matty Smith, so we'll see what happens there. What is roughly the pit strategy around here?
You could do soft medium, but you have to go like 11 or 12 laps, I think it is. Or you could do soft hard. You could pit like lap 8 or 9 and get a good undercut. The good thing about the hards is they don't fall off towards the end like the mediums will, so I think, I don't know, I think the more safe bet is to do a soft hard. Somebody like Smod probably going to get aggressive and do a soft medium as he goes around Pedro there.
Yeah, I thought I saw something like that. I just couldn't quite work it out there, but Dan's now in, so front wing change and the medium tyre, so Dan's looking to try and...
I don't know. It's going to two-stop then.
Well, he's either going to two-stop or he's going to bank on a safety car. A lot of people sort of sit, you know, you and I can sit here and go, oh, that's early, but yeah, you do have to look at the contrast and think they're probably banking on a safety car. That they've seen that obviously a few drivers have had a few accidents in the race. So Matty Smith, for example, Samad's had 2 offs. Michael McClay's had an off. In fact, Michael McClay's recovered actually quite nicely to get himself back up to 4th, having done that. So Dan's probably had that thought thinking, well, if I pit now, I'm sure there's going to be a safety car here because there's so many people having offs at the moment that there might be one that crashes out and brings out a safety car, and then you look after the tyres during that period and you may get away with it. But, oh, speaking of the devil, no, I think that was just, unless Dan himself just had a moment. I think he has, actually. That's more.
That was Dan.
Yep, and that's a lot more wing damage now than he had originally, so where has he done that? Has he done that at Dunlop, I wonder? Because that would be a far trek out into the first of the Degners to get that much damage, so I would assume that that is Dunlop that he's done it, so Dan's plan of a safety car might have happened, but he could have been the primary source of it, so you got to be careful with that one. So I'd imagine he'll come back in and do another stop and then chuck on the hards from there and go to the end, no doubt. Of course, then I say he would want a safety car to bunch the field back up, because as it stands, he could be very close to dropping a lap down if he's not too careful on this next out lap. Meanwhile, this battle for second place between William Hunter and Titsien rages on. Dan's got a speeding penalty. Now, Dan always liked to tell me that he's never been the type to just give up on a race. I would hope to think he's not going to make a liar out of me. No, I think he might have just overshot the boundary. But yeah, this battle for second place has been going on for a little bit, and I'm sure... Oh, actually, Titsien might...
Here he goes.
This can work, but there's got to be respect from both parties, and yep, it's there. Both don't have a lot of ERS, so... Who got DRS? No one.
Neither of them.
Huh. And Titsien manages to get through. Now, just keep in mind that the last time Renault got in front of William, he ended up being tipped off into the fence, but I think in this one instance, I don't think William's close enough through the corner to make that opportunity. I'm not like I'm saying he did it on purpose. I'm just saying sometimes you just got to be a bit wary about your drivers, who you're driving against sometimes. But Michael McClay's not too far off the back of these guys, so he could still very well make it AlphaTauri 1-2, which would be quite historical, especially at the home Grand Prix. I don't know what it's like with Tier 2, or I should say Tier 3. Just going to quickly reply to Shannon, who's on her break. Samad's up to P5, and of course with Samad's pace, I wouldn't discount him out of the race contention, especially if a safety car comes out. He's got raw pace, he's really onto it. I'm sure he just made a bit of a ballsy error at Spoon on lap 1 to drop all the way down. Kieran's up to P9. And Dan now 56 seconds off the lead of the race. Well, sorry, off the next car. Now we've got some pit activity. Michael McClay and Samad both in. And they also... No, I thought Pedro was joining them. So hards for Michael McClay and mediums for Samad, and a wing change. So obviously Samad will drop down to behind. Actually, Matty Smith's coming as well, so Liam will jump ahead of them both. So Samad out in 9th, and then Dan. I think Dan's had another moment because he's now almost a minute and 12 seconds behind. In fact, he's actually dangerously close to falling a lap behind too. So Bo is just coming through towards Spoon. Dan's just hitting Spoon, so Dan's going to be wanting to hope that Bo pits very shortly so he doesn't fall a lap down, but he will know that if he does make another mistake and has to pit once again, he will drop a lap down, which could implicate any hopes of getting points, because of course we've got 11 drivers, no reserves, so everyone here is vying for position. So the one thing you don't want is to be a lap down and then someone crash on the last lap, because obviously you won't get that spot. Okay, so top 3 in. William Hunter, 5-second speeding penalty, so got too close to the back.
They're all going hards. Yep, all going for the hards. Except William Hunter. He's gonna... Oh, we got a yellow.
That's
Kieran. Kieran's gone off. Casio.
no damage, but he is going to pit for the fresh set of tyres, which will put Dan in a better position to get some places. And he will jump onto the hard, so Christopher Lubin and Pedro Diaz are the only two drivers out on circuit now. I could have sworn I thought I saw a puncture on Pedro's car. I thought he's just developed it, but Christopher's actually starting to give Pedro a little bit of a hustle along. The gap's now just creeping between a second and it's under. So they're 9 seconds ahead of Bo, or about 10 seconds Pedro to Bo. Titian now in second, of course, with the system. Michael McClay has jumped. Yeah, Michael McClay's actually jumped William Hunter in the pit stops. Though with the better tyres, I can't imagine this staying like that, as William now is drawn alongside him down the main straight of the West Circuit. I tell you though, I've done the West Circuit in the Skip Barbers, and it is such a complex, it's pretty much just that part of the track, but it's still very complex in those type of cars. As I don't think Michael McClay got a good run out of that last corner, but at the same time William Hunter wasn't able to seize advantage of it. But yeah, Michael right now on the verge of getting past Titian, which in turn would put AlphaTauri back on that 1-2 finish.
I think Michael McClay's got really, really good pace tonight. I say tonight. I'll just say today because it's different times for everybody. But yeah, it looks like he's got the pace over a lot of these guys. I don't know if he's got anything for Bo. Bo is up to it nicely.
I forgot to take the no out of the assist here name. As William Hunter tries to make a move up the inside of Michael McClay, heading into, so yes, this is assist here. I just, because I'm commentating no assist here one at the same as well. Oh, there's contact between. How the heck did that not end up in one of those cars flying off the circuit? That was a solid hit between the two of them. And
I don't know, but Samad's going to join the scene.
Yeah, I was just going to
shortly.
say, ready or not, here comes Samad, who's on an absolute charge, and I'm sure he would love to get himself back up into that. Oh, now, that was interesting.
Yeah, Michael McClay's got damage.
Yeah, and I saw that, but on the chopper shot, Michael McClay wasn't even near William Hunter, and then suddenly his front wing just separated from his car. So there must be a bit of desync or lag coming from one of the drivers, but from my perspective, there's no...
Oh, and he's putting on softs.
Oh. Wait, what are we on? Lap 12 or 27, so that would be...
That's not going to work.
That's 15 laps on a set of softs, which... yeah, no, that's not even a safety... Even a safety car intervention there won't... It won't necessarily help you there, but yeah, so like I say, like you just said, keep an eye out for Samad because he's on a rampage at the moment. Now, who has the fastest lap of the race currently? Actually, Samad does, believe it or not. 1:29.1, so well faster than the next guy, which is Kieran with a 29.7. And I'd say he's done that on the softs, on the medium, so he's on a mad charge through the field. Don't discount the idea that he could get to the back of... If he can get past these three, or these two quite smoothly, don't discount the idea that he couldn't get back up to the back of Bo and overtake him for the win, and if he does that, God, that would be the comeback of a century.
Yeah, I mean... Bo's looking comfortable up there, though. And like I said before, I think those mediums are going to fall off towards the end, so I don't know if Samad will have enough tire, even if he gets close to Bo towards the end. He's also got to get around these two guys in front of him first.
Change of position as Pedro gets around Liam, who is... of course on a very different strategy as opposed to the first lap incident, so I would expect to see him probably in about 3 or 4 laps time. He'll jump on the softs and go to the end. Samad now picks up a penalty.
Gets a penalty.
Now William Hunter's right on the back of Titian here, so there is an opportunity for an overtake on that end. You just got to wait and see what they can do. As Samad, oh, I don't know. It kind of looked like that William Hunter was hit, but because of Samad being so far back, that car must be carrying a lot of low-speed understeer. Especially through Spoon, because yeah, William's car just doesn't look like it's hooking up in these slower corners, but Samad made the overtake look easy. I think William also gave the position up, knowing that he wasn't going to be able to hold it for too much longer. Now, oh, no, this is not ideal. Oh, actually, Titsien got out of the way quite quickly, so here we go. Samad now into second. 18 laps he's going to carry these mediums to, as opposed to Bo, who's going to carry 17 laps on a set of hards. So it's going to be a real test to see what kind of pace that Samad has on these mediums, as well as the fact of can he keep the momentum going, catch Bo, overtake Bo, and now at this point make 3 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll for sure get to the back of him. The other thing, look at Bo. Look at his ERS.
Oh, he has some. Oh, that's a first.
He's got a lot for this stage of the race.
Whereas Samad has none, almost. So Bo's obviously, so I'm guessing this is where it comes into play. So Bo, obviously, when he's racing against other people, he uses his ERS up quite a lot to stay with them. But when he's out leading the race and clear air, no one really threatening him from behind, I guess he conserves. So, oh, he actually just made a really huge balls up coming through the first of the S's. That's cost him a lot of time. Actually, he lost a complete second through that one corner alone, so Bo knows the impending threat coming from behind him. He needs to sort of settle down and just get on with it, because like you say, there's no guarantee that Samad's tyres are going to be able to go the distance. And on top of that, he does have to get past Bo and make 3 seconds, and then hold that 3 seconds for the duration of the race. And like we've said time and time again, when it comes to certain racing aspects, especially in F1 gaming, when you pick up your first penalty, more penalties are generally bound to come your way, just because you get unsettled by it. Kieran with a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. He must have completely straight lined one of the Digners. He's chasing down his brother, actually, oddly enough. He's chasing his brother down for position 9 and 10. So these guys are battling for the wooden spoon of the points. And then poor Dan, 39 seconds behind them, just looking to get through the race. Probably will hear about it in the No Assist Tier 1 commentary, no doubt. Titsien and William Hunter have sort of settled down, so the field looks like it's starting to come into a bit of a standstill, though in saying that Matty Smith looks like he might be coming onto the back of Christopher Lubin for position 8, or position 7 I should say, but of course Matty Smith does have a 3-second time penalty on top of his name. In fact, what we'll do, we'll have a look at the penalty. So William Hunter has a 5 seconds, so based on that he could get that appealed. Well, actually it was a speeding penalty, so he can't get that appealed unless he can prove that he wasn't actually speeding, which is quite hard these days. Kieran and Dan both have 5 seconds, which were both, well, Dan's was in the account of speeding, Kieran's was corner cutting. Kieran could protest that only if he can prove that he made a mistake and didn't just cut the corner to gain an advantage. And then we've got 3 seconds for Matty Smith, Pedro, and Aryan Samad. So, who I actually later learned today that, well, this week, that the MSA in Samad's name, which I thought was an esports team, is actually his full initials. So,
Okay.
well, yeah, so his full name is Muhammad Aryan Samad.
Okay.
But because most people call him Aryan instead of Muhammad, he just elected to go by that. So he is looking to join an esports team, and DXT and TNE have both been sort of nudging him in either of the directions. I said to Samad at the time, as well, it would be beneficial to join the TNE esports team, because then you're rivals with Amar, who is the DXT's best driver. So wouldn't it be a title fight of the ages for the top TNE assist driver to go up against the top top DXT assist driver, even though technically Samad doesn't use assist, and other than Racing Line, I think, and Amar uses everything off apart from ABS. So they're both on the verge of being 100% no assist, but they both need one of the assists to get by. And obviously Samad has the harder task of turning off Racing Line, because ABS is actually quite easy to turn off, in my opinion. I would actually probably go to say that ABS is probably the easiest assist to turn off. Yellow flag, sector 1. Is that Bo? Yeah, that was Bo.
No.
Oh no,
No.
Michael McClay. But Bo is in trouble, as Samad is now within DRS of the AlphaTauri. So one AlphaTauri having a moment at Spoon, the other one is now under complete siege for the lead of the race. In fact, Liam Towie is now in full position. He's now on the softs, 12 laps on the softs. That's still a bit of a tall order, but he can at least go for the fastest lap of the race. And he could still technically pit anyway, because he's 37 seconds ahead of Dan. And I know that the pit transit time here isn't very big, so what can Bo do here? He's now going to use his ERS, because obviously he doesn't want to be attacked by Samad, who's not using any ERS at all. So within, what lap did we accomplish him not using much ERS? About lap 15? To now using it, as Samad will now have DRS. Let's ride on board with him and see what he can do as he comes up towards the back. Of course, he doesn't have enough ERS to really mount an attack, but he's going to go for it anyway. Up the inside, does Bo fight it? No, he doesn't. He lets him straight through. So Samad now back in the lead of the Grand Prix after 18 laps of trying to get back there. But can he hold on? We believe that he's not going to be able to get to the end on the tyres that he's on, or at least if he does, there's going to be a huge drop off in performance, and we think Bo will be able to capitalise. But also keeping in mind that Samad has a 3-second time penalty, which means he has to make 3 seconds and hold it. So yeah, I'm not sure if Samad can really do it on this one, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the hard part done in getting around, but he's got to hope them tires hold on. And I don't know if they're going to make it to the end.
Of course, the safety car could change the complexity of it, because obviously Samad has some very good pace. His tyre advantage is only going to be for so long, but if a safety car was to come out, it would mean then that he would be able to put on a set of softs, be on the, and Bo would probably do the same, because you know, when you're in a position to win a race like this, you don't want to be giving away any ground. And basically, you know, I understand what a lot of people do. They sort of think about the track position over anything else when a safety car comes out. We saw Matthew Elliott do it in, was it the Sunday 9 PM race? And then I wouldn't say that it ultimately led to his DNF, but the track position aspect behind it only works so well if you've got the pace to be able to sort of back it up in terms of pulling away from the field, using the older tyres to your advantage, get a gap and then pit so that when you do lose the ground that you've made up, it doesn't hurt you as much when you're playing catch up with the better tyre. So I don't particularly think staying out under a safety car as opposed to potentially double stacking is the right call. I think if the situation calls that you can get off the tyres that you are on in place of fresher rubber that is guaranteed to keep you on the same strategy, I'd take it, even if it meant double stacking. Your thoughts on that one?
Oh, sorry, I'm ultra focused on how much the gap between Bo and Samad. Yeah, I always like the track position. Oh wait, Bo's.
Yeah, Bo.
What's happened to Samad?
I want to have a look at the race director on this one just quickly, because I think Bo did cut the corner. I just want to check. No, he might have got away with it actually, but it didn't look like the overtake didn't play off. But yeah, back to your thoughts.
Yeah, the track position's always good, but I don't know. You have to weigh when a safety car comes out and you can make a pit stop. That's going to get you to the end. It'll guarantee you going to the end, whether that's putting on the mediums or the hards. It's always a good idea to give up that track position because you know at least it's going to set you up for the end of that race. So anytime early on where you have a safety car and you haven't pit yet and that's going to get you to the end, it's a no-brainer for me. Towards the end of the race, you always kind of want that track position. You just gotta hope that everybody else does the same as you, or maybe not everybody else, but you have at least a buffer between you and those fresh tires. But I always like the track position. There's nothing better than clean air, and just focusing on what you have to focus on. But yeah, there's always instances where you also want to, it's the right call to make that pit stop.
So right now the gap is 1.7 seconds to Bo from Samad. So Samad is starting now. Bo had his opportunity to sort of put a hindrance on Samad by making an overtake and then forcing Samad to re-overtake him to build the gap. So I think Bo's lost that opportunity, and I think as a result Samad has turned the wick up to try and avoid Bo getting into that 3 second range. So at the moment it's 2.1 seconds now through the S's. Bo does seem a bit stronger in the third sector than Samad. We've got a battle here brewing between William Hunter and Pedro Diaz. That's for position 4. So Pedro's looking to go back-to-back P4 finishes. He could still get third if he can get to the back of Tizian and then make an overtake, and of course 3 seconds. But pretty much the same scenario with Tizian and these two is that they're both on mediums. He's on the hards, so these mediums are going to be dropping off the radar. The only driver, well, actually technically none of the medium, there is no medium driver that is safe. Smart picks up another one. Ooh, so that's going to be 6 seconds now that he's got to try and build the buffer out to. So that could have cost him potentially the race win because he hasn't made the necessary ground that he needs. So right now he's got 4 laps left to go, so he technically has to make a second a lap on Bo, and given the tyre differences I just don't think he's going to be able to pull out that much of a gap, and I think the tyre differences is pretty much the evidence as to why that gap between those two isn't dropping very much.
Yeah, and I think he could have got away with the 3 seconds, but now with that extra 3 seconds, I don't know if he could do it. He's not really pulling as much time. Visually, you could see he's not pulling that same time that he was.
Yeah, when he was pulling Bo in, the gap was dropping quite significantly, but now you'd be lucky to think if it's even making a tenth. Of course, it's going to go up through the corners, but then as Bo goes through the corners, it'll match back out. So it's only really going up a tenth every 2 corners. So if you translate that by how many corners Suzuka has, times that by 4, you'd be lucky. I mean, and that's just at the moment. This is the at the moment aspect of it. So every lap it's going to get worse and become maybe 2/10 every 4 corners. So the gap is 3.1, and Pedro is now right on the back of William Hunter. So these two are going to battle for their own position point. Obviously, Pedro will jump ahead of William because of the penalty system, because the 5-second penalty. Oh, actually, no. Technically speaking, once that 5 seconds served, yeah, he'll drop behind Pedro. So Pedro will be P4. They won't be able to get to the back of Tizian, who's actually had a really good race today. He's just sort of stayed out of everyone's way, managed a good move around William. Oh, William's actually just gone off at Dunlop. Oh, and it's actually a full spin. I thought it was just going to be a dangerous rejoin sort of aspect, like a high-speed rejoin, but he's actually taken some front wing off with him too. So that's going to put Christopher Lubin now potentially.
Ooh, when he's off again.
Yeah, those tyres will be fried. So Christopher Lubin now looking to be on course for his best result of the season. I think, where did he finished 6th last weekend, didn't he?
Yes, I believe it was. Yeah, he finished 6th.
So if he could get within 2 seconds of Pedro, and Pedro picked up another penalty, he could get up to P4, and that would be his best result. But he is currently on the best result of the season in P5. You know, he always sort of talks about it's always good when these faster drivers aren't here so he can score results. But really, when you think about it, he's beating the likes of Kieran, Matty Smith, Michael McClay, and Dan, who are by no means slow drivers. They're definitely the strongest of the mid-pack runners in the field. So he's beating these guys. Yes, give or take, there's been a few mistakes. Obviously, Williams made a couple of errors in these last couple of laps. But, you know, you can't discredit the fact that Christopher's making ground each and every time. And, of course, Christopher is on 0 assists too. Now we've got a full Sector 1 yellow. But...
Oh, that's Kieran.
Oh, yeah, he's off at Turn 1. But did it really require the whole of Sector 1 and 3 to be... Oh, he's off again. Oh, my goodness me, that's a huge crash. He's retired on the circuit, but arguably he should have really retired on the in the wall, because that was a huge... Oh!
This AI car is not doing good things.
Oh, Michael McClay must have missed that by millimeters. Imagine the scenes there. Imagine the family dinner that night. It had
Oh no.
Michael crashed into the back of his AI. That would have been a very awkward dinner. But as I said, Dan's perseverance is rewarding him. As he's going to finish, he's going to get a singular point. Though if he's not careful, actually no. If I was in Dan's shoes, I would slow down, because there's no way you're going to get P6, P9, because Williams too far ahead. I would just slow down, let Samad and Bo through, and just finish the race a lap early. And just... I mean,
do one less lap.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a life hack.
Well, I know I've done it a few times in the past. There was a race in particular, I was just having a really bad day, and I didn't want to go another lap. I thought about retiring on track, and then I thought, well, hang on, I've got 2 laps left to go. They're about to lap me. I'll let them through, and then I only have to do 1 less lap. So I did that, and it was good. So Dan could very well do that, or if he wants to finish on the lead lap, that's up to him on there. But So, yeah, Christopher Lubin looking like he's going to hold on to this position because Matty Smith does have a 3-second penalty. Actually, I have to say, Christopher Lubin is probably the cleanest driver on this tier. And I don't mean that in terms of drivability, but the fact that he can keep the car on the street limit or track limits and not secure any time penalties and still be able to hold on to where he is. Because, I mean, you know, getting penalties is something, but you get penalties because you're pushing hard and you're obviously making a few little wide errors, but sometimes when you try to keep on the track, you don't find speed because you're not exceeding the track limits. But for Christopher Lubin, it just seems to be he can manage them both, and that's obviously why today he's going to be rewarded with his best finish of the season.
Yeah, he's I don't remember a lot of races where he racks up a ton of penalties. Sure, there'll be tracks, you know, at the difficult tracks he might have 3 seconds. But you're right, he's usually not somebody who picks up a lot of penalties, and that really does pay off for you in a lot of situations. That's not going to get him any extra positions today, but at least he'll be able to secure his P5 as long as he does this last half a lap clean.
Well, even if he does, he'll be safe from Matty Smith because he's on penalties as well. But for Aryan Samad, this is going to be probably in his books one of his best races of the season. He started on pole, he went off at turn 1, he went off again at lap 1, he went off again, he throws it on the grass and takes victory. The comeback drive of his life. But Samad unfortunately does have to yield as Bo will take a home Grand Prix win for the Honda power unit, but brilliant comeback drive for Samad to win the race on track. Titian will take his second podium of his career in 3rd place, Pedro in 4th, Christopher Lubin 5th. There's a yellow flag, which I'm not sure, I guess that's probably just for drivers slowing down. Christopher Lubin, best finish of the season and his career in Tier 1 with 5th. Matty Smith in 6th, Liam Towie, good comeback drive for his first lap incident in 7th. Michael McClay will come home in 8th. William Hunter will come home 9th, but will have the fastest lap of the race. And we will... Oh, and Dan's had a spin at the hairpin on the final lap. Wouldn't that be something to survive not going a lap down and then crashing on the final lap, which would almost pretty much predominantly put you a lap down. And somehow he hit the wall and didn't get any wing damage, unless he's... I'm going to keep an eye on this, just on the account that he's... Because Dan does have a tendency to be a little exuberant when it comes to being the last car to finish. Likes to show off a little bit. Hey Dan, keep in mind if you get disqualified, there's no way you're getting those points. Oh god, here we go. Yep, here comes the donuts. I can't even do them right. Like I said, Dan, if you get caught going backwards, you're going to get disqualified. And if you get disqualified, you're not getting the points. What a character. But anyway, he comes across the line and will seize the final points position. Just check that final. Titian saying he didn't like...
DNF'd.
You're joking!
I mean, he'll still get the point because he did 90%, but he didn't even make it across the line.
So he hit the wall and registered as a DNF. Oh, that is something. That's what you get for being a show-off. Let's have a look. Does it register as a DNF or does it register him as finished? No, it does register. No, but it did register him as a lap down. That's actually quite funny. Anyway, we will quickly use this time to bring in our top 3. I don't think Samad will do it because he was one of the ones wanting to watch the thing, so I doubt we'll see him, but we'll invite him anyway, and then Titian in 3rd. Right, we'll make our way to Nissan Visual and Graphics Victory Lane. We'll just have a read through the Bo's certainly happy with his result. Okay, so sorry, I was just having a read through something. So we will go through who we got at the moment. Just Tizian, it looks like. So we will chat to our third place finisher. So Tizian, congratulations, your second podium of your career in Tier 1. Third place, I think your last podium came at Silverstone. It was before Austria, I know that much, because, well, it was either before or after Austria, because you was talking about how you wanted a podium at Austria, you didn't get it, but then you got a podium. You either had the podium before it or you got it after it at Silverstone. So either way, congratulations. Good racing for you. Bit of a quiet lull at the end, and then yeah, just pretty much talk us through your race.
Yeah, thank you at the beginning. It was Silverstone indeed, second place after Austria, the race. Yeah, anyways, I came to this track with like no expectations because Japan was always a track I said, yeah, I'm getting too much penalties, I'm causing too much crashes and so on, but in the end, yeah, P3. At the beginning, many drivers were making mistakes and spun around, and then I made the overtake on William, and I think that was crucial for P3 today. And yeah, I kept it clean without penalties. And I just saw, yeah, more drivers spinning out, and in the end, I ended up in P3, and I'm very happy about this. Did not expect it, but I will take it with pleasure.
And of course, coming into the result, you would have seen the incident between your teammate and William Hunter. Did you have any expectations of overtaking William and not sitting there with having the thought that he might do it to you in the back of your mind?
Yeah, I thought a little moment, should I make this or should I make this not? But in the end, I was one car length before him, and then I was able to get in front of him before the corner before we even got into the corner. Otherwise, I would have backed out. I did the same to Samad. I backed out earlier, so I prevented myself to spin out. Yeah.
Well, Michael, do you have anything you want to add? Because I don't think we're going to have Bo or Smart from the looks of it.
Congratulations on another podium.
Thank you.
Definitely a really good drive for you today. Nice, clean, calm, consistent. We didn't really talk about you too much because you were just doing a great, nice, quiet race and not putting a foot wrong. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a nice race.
So thanks for your time there, Tizian, and we'll see you at the next event at USA.
Thank you. Good evening.
Alright, so there we have it, another eventful race in Assist Tier 1. Numbers for the race obviously not as good, one better than Russia, but obviously we have taken some procedural measures to sort of ensure that next season will be a bit better for the drivers. We haven't actually come to a complete concrete decision on that, but I'm sure we'll reconvene on that one in a later date to officially announce that. Michael, thanks for your time yet again. Do you think we'll see you reserve in No Assist Tier 1 today, or do you think you'll just call it a day?
No, I'm going to get dinner with friends, so I won't even be home.
Save me a slice of cake then. So thanks for the time, Michael. Obviously, we'll see you in the next commentary at the Circuit of the Americas. So thanks for watching, everyone. Again, as always, like we say, Circuit of the Americas is the next event. So for the US Regional Championship, it's going to be a lot of home ground racing for a lot of the drivers. And then, of course, the same will be said in the Nationals in terms of, I think, Actually, now I think about it, in terms of the American drivers in no assists at the moment, I think only Kyle is representing the American banner. Maybe Rolly Shields too if he turns up to a race. But either way, stay tuned. In 40 minutes, as no assist tier 1 will tackle Japan themselves as the last race of the week. Also tune in to the Transnation Supercars Twitch channel, which I will post in the Discord for viewers, as we will be doing. Well, I'll be doing a little bit of a test session. I wasn't originally supposed to do it to test overlays, but I've learned now I have to do some graphic work before I can do that. So it'll just be a regular test around Oran Park. So stay tuned in to watch that. Also tune in to watch that because I do believe that Patrick Boylard is going to be driving around in his Tantalo VF Commodore. So that'll be cool to see. Give him some support. Without further ado, thanks for watching. Brett Evans and Michael Garone Jr. signing out from Japan. We'll see you next week in the land of Texas, USA. Yeah!